see the Joshua fight with Ruiz, and do you think Joshua could win that rematch against Andy Ruiz at the heavyweight division?
On the heavyweight fight, that's when Joshua, the other dude came on. They came in the ring. Okay.
The rematch. They're gonna run that back.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I thought. From what I seen of what Joshua did the last time, I think he could have did better.
What's he got to do then? What adjustments?
Yeah, well, that's some of the things that he got to see. Because to me, a lot of times fighters come in the ring, man, and they just say where they're supposed to be. You're right. You said the man too, right there. You're right.
Joshua and Ruiz, the big rematch next week. Who's going to win, Rob?
Can't wait for that fight.
Who's going to win?
Look, it's gonna be a difficult fight for both, but I think Andy Ruiz pulls it off again. He already got his number. He already did it once. I think he could do it again.
Not just because he's La Raza.
Well, we gotta cheer for him because of that, because he's Mexican American, just like we are. But I think he's got a really good chance because he already beat him once. Dominated mentally, physically, and I think he could do it again.
What's more why you're picking him, mentally or physically?
I think it's more mentally.
That Joshua is.
Joshua's probably has that in his head, that he already lost to him, and he already dominated the way he did.
Do you see Joshua being mentally weak heading into this fight, or is that? He's champion.
I do see that. It's possible. He's a professional. He's a complete athlete. So it shouldn't, but it is possible.
I mean, I say that he's been heavyweight champion of the world. So how mentally weak could he possibly be?
Look,
but
he, if he's that mentality where, oh shit, that guy already beat me, then he's gonna get beat again. But if he comes back stronger, then he should go out and beat him. I don't know. We'll see what kind of. I can't wait for the fight. 1 week away. I can't wait for it because it's gonna be a pretty exciting fight.
You know how Joshua knocked Klitschko out with the uppercut. He's got beautiful left hooks.
He does. He is a great fighter.
But so does Ruiz, and he's shorter. So is that
short? He makes the fight awkward. He's gonna pressure. He's gonna throw punches from all over. So it's gonna be interesting to see again.
How do you see that rematch going, Ben?
Hard to tell. I think that what Joshua needs to learn is he needs to learn how to control the distance and control the tempo, but without exchanging punches. If he can learn how to do that and know how to do that, I think he'll have a lot more success. And I hope that he's not going to be too gun shy and let that last performance affect him too much, because that can happen to anybody. It can happen. You can get caught with shots, So we'll find out. There's part and parcel of it. We'll all find out.
Because so much is being made about where his head was at walking to the ring and all that. Do you buy into that, or was it just stylistically he ran into a bad fight then?
I don't know him on a personal level, so I couldn't tell you whether that's normal for him, out of character for him. I couldn't say that. What I can say is that for a couple of fights I've seen that I felt like he's been a little bit caught in between the styles of. He's trying to develop like everybody is, and I felt like he's been caught between styles of trying to box, be a little bit looser, more relaxed, but also have that maximum output that Anthony Joshua is known for. So, it's trial and error, and it's part and parcel of the sport. It can happen, So we'll find out not too long.
How do you think that rematch would go tonight?
I like Ruiz in the first fight. I like him in this fight, but I read somewhere he said he lost a lot of weight. I don't think that's good for him because he's always fought big, and I just hope he don't hurt himself by trying to lose weight.
Just from a fan perspective, what would happen if he lost too much weight? Like, why do you say that?
Well, because it takes away his stamina. This guy has been big all his life. Mm-hmm. So why change something that you've been successful at? I wouldn't change anything. Look. He throws punches. He's always in great shape. So why would you need to lose weight in order to fight after the Joshua again? Don't see it.
How do you see Ruiz Joshua 2 playing out?
Okay. I believe Ruiz. I always thought Ruiz was a good fighter, but I think Joshua is the more talented fighter. He's the Olympic gold medalist. I think he's more talented. So I think, me personally, I think Joshua will win the fight. You know, you got top three, the top four heavyweights right now. Not in the same order, but you got Fury, you got Joshua, you got Wilder. Wilder's number one right now for me, and Wilder and Fury is tied to number one. You know, but heavyweight division is crazy right now.
How do you think Joshua wins if he pulls it off? Decision, knockout?
I think he knocked him down already. So Joshua know he can hurt him.
Right.
Andy Ruiz, if he's smart, he'd go across the ring and jump right on top of him. But if Joshua was smart, he'd keep his distance, box him in circles for 2 rounds, then knock him out in the 3rd round.
There you go.
Because he can't, like, you got a guy with short arms. He can't get past his jab. Why not use your reach to your advantage? But we'll see what happens.
Who do you think would win that rematch when it happens?
I mean, I'm leaning toward Ruiz. I mean, everyone made up excuses for Joshua, but watch him make excuses. He dropped him in the 1st round. He should have finished it, but he didn't. And then Ruiz got up and dropped him 4 times. So who's the better fighter?
I hear you, but just to, you know, play the other side. You know, Lennox Lewis, another UK heavyweight champion, maybe took Oliver McCall, maybe took Rahman lightly, came back, won the rematch. You see that scenario? You know?
I'm not saying I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this: people look at Ruiz's body and judge him as a fighter. He's a great fighter. He's not a good fighter. He's a great fighter. And basically, even when we did predictions, I picked him to beat Joshua, so I wasn't surprised. So I think that he's gonna win again.
It was a great upset, you know, a great upset. You know, having the first Mexican-American heavyweight champion in boxing history, obviously, it's great because, you know, he's Mexican, and you know, that's something that gives a lot of people a lot to talk about, and it's a great move for the sport of boxing. You know, now people are looking forward to the rematch.
What's your outlook on the rematch?
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't take anything from Andy Ruiz, and I know that from 100 people you asked, you think Andy Ruiz has a chance for the fight? Honestly, I didn't. You know, I don't like to be a hypocrite. I tell you how it is. Going into that fight, based on the statistics, Andy Ruiz was a replacement. You know, because the previous opponent for Anthony Joshua ended up positive for PEDs. So bringing Andy Ruiz as a replacement, basically, I mean, 100% of the time he's just an opponent. So honestly, when I saw that fight in the making, I never gave Andy Ruiz a chance. I can tell you this right now. I see a lot of people, you know, they say, "Oh, I knew he was gonna win," and I had a feeling he was gonna win. That's just, honestly, to me, that's bullshit. Just because he won now, I mean, I'm very happy that he won. I mean, it's impressive to see Andy Ruiz, you know, show his heart and determination to finish Anthony Joshua the way he did. Man, you know, Andy Ruiz, you know, after the fight, like, man, you know, much respect for Andy Ruiz, but from the beginning, I never thought he was gonna win. And now going into the rematch, I think in the rematch, Anthony Joshua would win because now he has to make adjustments. He has to go back to camp and make adjustments. And the reason why is this: in boxing, every fighter steps up to the level of opposition. And in my opinion, I think that night Anthony Joshua walked in against an Andy Ruiz thinking, man, you know, this is an easy fight for me. So mentally, he wasn't ready for an Andy Ruiz that was hungry that night. And I know that coming into the rematch, Anthony Joshua is coming in with a different mentality. This kid is dangerous. He's a big threat. Now I have to prepare myself differently and come to the fight with a different mentality that this guy is very dangerous. That's how I see it. You know, I could be wrong, but that's my prediction.
Wow, that's interesting. A lot of people are taking Ruiz in the rematch. How was he able to beat Joshua? He was quick on the inside, and obviously you feel that Joshua kind of overlooked him going into that fight.
Well, I think Anthony Joshua overlooked him. He really did. He went in there and Anthony Joshua dropped Andy Ruiz. And then that's when Anthony Joshua himself said, man, you know, this guy is done. I already got him, and I'm going to finish him. And that's his worst mistake. He got in there, he got hit, and And a couple of things that Andy Ruiz did that night, he landed some great shots on the right spot that didn't let Anthony Joshua recover through the remaining of the fight. So that's what happened. So hopefully, you know, it's a great fight in the next one. I wish Andy Ruiz the best. Honestly, to me, I mean, if he wins, you know, I'll be happy because he's a Mexican-American fighter. But take nothing from Anthony Joshua as well. He's a smart fighter. He's a tall, very athletic fighter. But I don't see the rematch Andy Ruiz winning it, even though he has the confidence that he already went in there. Honestly, as on the rematch, I think Andy Ruiz is gonna go in there, try to look for the same type of fight he went in the first time, and he's gonna run into problems.
What do you think of that rematch? Do you think that Ruiz can do it again, or do you favor Joshua?
Well, I tell you what, I think both guys have the ability to win in the rematch. You know, if Joshua turns up in the same condition as he did in the first fight, which I doubt he will, you know, there's no reason why a much more confident, and fighters who win the world title are always 10 or 15% better in their next fight. You know, a much more confident and determined Andy Ruiz could do the job on him again. But I honestly believe that, you know, great fighters are fighters who can make an adjustment, who can come back from you know, the worst losses of their career and turn it around and beat the person that beat them. And, you know, I think Anthony Joshua's a smart guy. I think he's got a very good team around him. I think that he probably underestimated Andy a little bit in the first fight. He won't underestimate him this time.
Some of the learnings that Joshua could have when he fights Ruiz in the rematch.
Well, I think, you know, you've got to look at strengths and weaknesses, and when you take a fighter like Joshua, you know, he's 6'6", he's a big, strong man, he can really box, he won a gold medal at the London Olympics, and yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Ruiz. I was there when he fought Joseph Parker, and he's got incredibly quick hands for a big, solid guy. Hand speed is phenomenal. I just can't understand why Anthony Joshua didn't continue to fight him from range, because it was the same thing over in New Zealand when Joseph fought Anthony Ruiz. He was beating him from range when he was boxing him, but when he started to try and trade with him, the hand speed of Ruiz was just so fast that I felt that Joseph was losing a lot of those exchanges. And the same thing here, I thought that Anthony Joshua was playing Russian roulette. I mean, why does he get in there and trade with a guy and lose his great advantage of height and reach and boxing ability by trading? And I think he didn't give Andy Ruiz enough respect, and Andy Ruiz is a great boxer. He looked at him and thought that he was an easy fight, and he's anything but. But I think Anthony Joshua will learn a lot from this. I think you'll find next time when they fight, Joshua will box him from range. He'll gap control, he'll keep the distance, he'll box him long, he'll break him down strategically, and if he goes about it that way, then there may be an opportunity for a KO later in the fight. But I think he rushed the fight, he gave away his physical advantage, he gave away his technical advantage, and he basically traded with him, and I think he fell into the trap. And I don't think he'll make that mistake again, and my prediction for the next fight is that Anthony Joshua wins it on points. I think he'll go the distance, but I think that Anthony Joshua will win it on points. That's my prediction.
Do you feel that Anthony Joshua can win that fight? He can do, because, you know, we don't know the circumstances of the first fight. We hear all these things, what we're going off, and maybe that's right, maybe it's not wrong, but the psychological effect of getting knocked out was always going to be in your mind. So, you know, he's got to overcome that obstacle. As Ruiz lived the life, you know, since winning, has he been partying, what's he been doing? So, you know, maybe that was his biggest win, you know, and that's what he's happy with. You know, maybe Joshua can't live with that, and he's pulled himself out and pulled out all the stops. You don't really know. If Ruiz does everything he can possibly do to his best of his ability, and Anthony Joshua does everything he can do to his best of his ability, then Anthony Joshua should win the fight. But if either one of them have took their eye off the ball or not, you know, done what they're supposed to do, you know, once Ruiz starts clipping them a few times, it's going to be, you know, in his favour. And, you know, Joshua's going to have to exercise those ghosts, and it's an hard place to be doing that in the middle of a ring. You've already been knocked out by somebody. There's very few fighters who turn it around and go the other way. You know, don't forget, Joshua had him down first, but, you know, he made the mistake of running in, you know, a bit hastily and got clipped. Whereas a A more experienced fighter would have probably stood back a bit and bided his time and picked his shots and got him again. And maybe that's where it was. Maybe just the fact of him getting a bit carried away. Maybe because he had these problems before the fight. He thought, I've got to finish this kid quick. People do it. They do it. I've had fighters do it myself. And as you're running in to put the nail in the coffin, you get clipped and that's it. It's all over. So you have to be very careful. So we don't know what the background was for the previous fight. But what we do know is that we never thought that Ruiz would beat Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua would happen to get that rematch finalized and set. Who would you pick in that fight and why?
I'm gonna make a prediction of Joshua. I think he's gonna right his wrongs, and it's gonna be a different environment that he fights in. So I think he's gonna be the victor. Andy's tough. He comes to fight, but I think it's gonna be a different. The hunger is going to present itself, and Joshua's going to show why he was heavyweight champion as long as he was.
Talking about that lack of intensity and hunger, it looked like just a little bit that's what showed up against Ruiz. If that's the case, how could he get that back? How does a fighter like Joshua get it back?
When you see everything that you've worked for become in jeopardy, then that alone should bring that intensity. I went over there to London, and Joshua is like Michael Jordan, you know what I mean, in the United States. So, I mean, just with that, a chance to lose all of that, I think he's going to have a different intensity and a different hunger in the fight.
You think he wins that fight with Ruiz, that rematch?
I hope so.
You had to bet on you like it. That's your guy. So
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Do you think he actually will, though, if you were betting?
That style that Ruiz has is going to be tough for Joshua. It's going to be a tough fight, and from what I'm hearing, things aren't going like they would like in camp. You know what I mean? And I don't have an insight on it. I'm just hearing what I'm reading. I mean, I'm just speaking on what I'm reading. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. And I hope Joshua pulls it out. But Ruiz is no slouch. I sat next to Joseph Parker during the fight. And he told me before the fight, he says Ruiz can crack, so it's going to be tough.
You mentioned like that style Ruiz brings is just tough. Is that what this just might be? We're talking about intensity and hungry, and was he there that night? Is it possible it's just a bad style?
Right. It's just a bad style for a guy that big because Ruiz throws a lot of punches, and big guys aren't normally used to seeing that, having to defend that. So it's a style that most heavyweights don't have. That hand speed that Ruiz has. That combination. So I think his style would be a problem for any heavyweight.
Right, because it seemed like that Joshua likes to do what Ruiz does, but Ruiz is shorter. He can kind of get on, But
right. It's going to be a tough fight for Joshua. But like I said, I hope that he pulls it out.
I think Joshua's going to win that fight. I think they're going to, this is my opinion, I think they're going to pay him off.
You say pay Andy off?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
Joshua can't beat him.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to do like a breakdown of like that. No Lennox, Lewis, Rockman, no Oliver McCall, Lennox, no.
They're gonna hope this guy keeps partying as much as he's gonna party. Ruiz, they're gonna hope he's still partying.
Why don't you think Joshua can
Joshua
fight?
Doesn't have the heart.
Doesn't have the heart?
He quit in that last fight. And he gets hit in his defense. He gets hit. He's like this. Why you put your hands up here? You got all this wide open. He don't want to fight Deontay. That's his last thought.
Do you think there could be any adjustments? I've heard counter arguments where it's like, well, he got Andy Ruiz down first, and then he made a couple mistakes, and then it cost him.
The mistake he made was he didn't hit him hard enough to keep him down. And when he got up, he got hit, and he has no defense.
What about people saying that he's potentially maybe slimmed down, maybe to counter Andy Ruiz's speed? Is that a possibility that he can, or is it just skill set? Ruiz is just overall better in this style matchup.
But even if he loses weight, it's not going to help him.
Why is that? It's the skill set?
The skill. I mean, Ruiz got more skill than he does. I mean, he came in, he's throwing punches, and Joshua has no clue what to do. He was hands up in the air like this here, all this wide open. Don't you know if I hit you down, you're gonna bring your hands down? Now I'm hit upside the head. His hands went all like this here. He didn't have a clue what to do.
So then, if I would say then, if you're picking Ruiz and then miraculously the fight happens between him and Deontay for an undisputed fight, would that be Deontay's toughest fight? Would you say between Ruiz? He would stop Ruiz.
That'd be easy to stop.
It'll be easy. Is it just because he's short, or is it?
Well, I mean, he's got a hand speed, but can he take it? Joshua hit him, he fell. And Deontay hit him, he didn't get up.
Prediction on that?
It's a really good fight, a really intriguing fight. What it's going to come down to is which guy handles their current situation better. How does Joshua handle losing the last fight? How does Ruiz handle winning the last fight? And it may seem like that's a weird thing to say, but you got to understand, Ruiz is in a situation where instead of 10 phone calls a day, he's getting 100. Instead of 10 media interviews, they're wanting him to do 1,000. Instead of 25 people knowing who he is every time he steps out his house, he's got people. He can't go to a restaurant now. He can't walk down the street. He can't gas up without people coming up to him. These are things you have to learn to deal with. And if he has successfully done that, then he'll be fine. But it can be a lot. Joshua has dealt with that. He understands that. He has never dealt with a loss like this before. So how does he come back? Is there self-doubt? Has he tried to change everything? Or is he keeping things the same? So it really just depends on who handles their current situation better.
Do you think Joshua has a problem with punch resistance, the ability to take a big shot?
No, I think he takes a decent shot. These guys can punch. Andy's got very fast hands and very heavy hands, and these guys can punch. Anthony's a very good athlete and a very good boxer, and he won the gold in the Olympics and won a world title in the pros. So he's a very, very capable boxer, and he's got good people that he works with as far as his trainers and stuff goes. So it's going to be an intriguing fight. And then the X factor is the location. Who handles that better? You're in a totally different place. Is the food a little different, or the customs a little different, or the way they do things a little different? Who handles that? So there's a lot to it.
Well, you know what? It's so many questions and answers to that fight. Joshua was this, Joshua was that. I mean, you have to look at the fight for face value. If I'm gonna be honest about it, it seemed to be a style matchup nightmare for Joshua, a style matchup that he didn't anticipate, and he might have let his thoughts on Andy Ruiz's ability wane just a little bit. And when he got caught, of course, he got caught in a vulnerable spot that he never quite recovered from the damage of it. But it's hard to say. You can only take his word for it.
Who do you think is going to? I mean, I know obviously Anthony Joshua lost the fight, Andy Ruiz won the fight, but I think people kind of forget, or maybe it's not even important, that it was actually Andy Ruiz that made the first mistake. Anthony Joshua put him on the canvas first. So having said that, does Anthony Joshua have to make more changes as far as his game plan and his strategy, or does Andy Ruiz have to make the same, more, less changes? I mean, what does each guy kind of have to do?
Well, I think it's kind of simple for Joshua. He has to fight at a range and a distance to minimize those effective attacks, those mid-range attacks that Andy Ruiz was able to bring into the fight. Can't get overexcited. He has to be prepared to fight a round after round fight, staying steady,
staying consistent. He has to make sure that all the things that let him down in the first fight are factor intact. Number one is stamina. Number two is movement. Number three, not taking his eyes off punches and getting hit with punches that he doesn't see. If you look at that fight, he got hit with a lot of shots he did not see. So there's a defensive correction that needs here. And he needs to fight. I saw somebody said he needs to fight tall and not short. I agree with that to a certain extent, but I don't agree with him fighting tall. I agree with him fighting long. So there's a difference between fighting long and fighting short. He doesn't have to stoop down. He has to stretch out. And that gives Ruiz has to work. That adds another foot or so to Ruiz being able to get to him. And if he knows how to use that lead hand to stop him from coming in, he can control that whole situation with his lead hand and use his follow-up punches at the right time. But the lead hand is the whole key, his legs and his lead hand. I would suggest to him that he shadow box every day, 6 to 8 rounds every day, moving, until his legs are programmed, until he learns he's using the whole range. And he has to be able to set a footwork pace on Ruiz that he didn't set before. He let Ruiz take the steps that he was comfortable with. So he has to be able to set a footwork pace that would benefit him in the fight. To make Ruiz step quicker, move quicker, have to work harder to get in range, and to test his conditioning. So all those things, I believe, will play a factor in the fight.